Welcome to the very first podcast of Under the Sun and Moon with Kes and Michelle. I am Michelle.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
Kes's mom.
Hi, Mom.
And you are?
I am Kes. I am daughter of Michelle.
Yes, you are. That worked out really well.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
Well, no one knows who we are, so I think that would be a good place to start.
Well, we just introduced ourselves.
I know, but what do we do? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing
Who gave
this?
us permission?
We gave ourselves permission. We don't need permission from anyone.
That's true, yes.
Yeah.
Is age safe to say? I don't know.
I have no idea. I gave
Okay.
that some thought. I will say that I am a Gen Xer.
Oh, yep, and I am 100% Gen Z.
Yeah, I am very much a child of the 70s, teen of the 80s. Rock on to all you other Gen Xers out there.
And I am very much a product of said Gen X.
That's right, you are.
Very much a rock on, hippie vibe kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
but just in the wrong era.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born a little too late, but that's okay.
I was born too late.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just seem to have more of a 60s kind of attitude about, in terms of like the, I don't know, free spirit and not being tied down to things sort of way,
Yeah.
you know? But I think a lot of us kids in Gen X sort of have that, but we don't, we're not boomers.
Yeah.
We definitely don't fit into that group.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not millennials.
No.
We
Yeah.
sort of fit into that group, but
Mhm.
I think millennials don't want us there. So, and we really are very X.
Yeah.
The reason we were called Gen X is because no one knew what to do with us, and no one knew what to call us, this post-baby boomer generation.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's literally, it's not like they were like, oh, you know what? We've gone through X number of letters in the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally the greatest generation, which is what is, the label that's used for the pre-boomers. And then the baby boomer generation, which is that post-World War II baby boom. And then came along us bunch of rugrats,
Rugrats.
Well, I'm the generation that is where the term like latchkey kid came from. I'm the generation where a lot of women were going to work full time. Kids were starting to be put into daycare.
Mm-hmm.
If you were too old for daycare, or your parents didn't want to put you in daycare, you were given a key to the house.
Oh,
Came home
okay.
from school.
Yep.
Let yourself in. There weren't a lot of rules about how old a kid could be either to be left home alone.
Oh, I just did it again.
I have to say that in my generation, I think a lot more adults got away with child abuse.
Yeah.
Than they do now. Because it
Yeah.
was,
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't treated the same way.
Yeah.
When you think about kids being home alone, at least.
Yeah.
Abuse and neglect. Yeah.
Yeah, at least I remember when I was a kid, it was very much like you and Dad set really good boundaries for me to work within in terms of
Okay.
I could roam around the town because you knew that I would stay in the town.
Well, yeah.
And then you
It's
also
that kind of a town.
I know, but you also you gave me a house key and you were also the parents that you can hang out with said person, but I want to meet who they are first, or I want to meet their parents first.
I want
and
to know
stuff.
where they live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people, at least I grew up with, didn't really have that. I don't know, not in a bad way, but they were just more your parents were yeah, okay, I'll see you later, see you at 10 or whatever, but you were be home at this time.
See, I thought I was a really strict parent, and your dad was always trying to pull me back a little bit. Not like helicoptering, because I wasn't interested in that,
No, yeah.
but just like I was raised with a very rigid structure,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want you to live that life. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I did everything I could to not
Mm-hmm.
be rigid with you, but yet somehow I always came across as strict. Other parents referred to me as strict.
Yeah. And I think, like, I didn't really think you were strict. I just thought
You
that,
didn't know any different.
well, that's true. But, I think, like, in comparison to you and Dad, like, Dad was definitely the one who would let me stay up past a certain time and eat pizza and watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, no, I don't want you to do that, but here's why. You always had a reason behind things.
Well, yeah, I'm a very verbal person
Uh-huh.
because I'm very logic based.
Yeah, but you...
And I also never believed in treating a child like, here's the rules, follow them, that's it. I'm not going to explain it to you. I was totally not cool with that.
Right, but I'm saying, like, that's 100% true. But I'm saying, like, I knew other parents who were like, I don't want you to do this thing because I don't want you to. But you were like, I don't want you to stay up past 10 eating pizza because then you'll be sick in the morning. Or I don't want you running around outside without shoes on because you could trip and fall and get hurt or get something stuck in your foot. You actually had reasons, and I knew some of my friends who had parents who didn't have those reasons. So that's why I didn't think you were strict. I thought you were just reasonable.
Oh, okay.
And you still are. So that's good.
Oh, well, yay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm Kes. I'm like the start-ish of like Gen Z.
Yeah. Really early on.
Yeah, Gen Z was 97, I think.
Yeah,
That's
so
when
you're
it
right on that
started.
edge. You know, millennials used to be called Gen Y.
Yeah.
And then when it dawned on stupid people that they were going to come of age in the new millennium, then they started calling them millennials.
Right.
Um,
I just like, oh my God, do you remember the Eliza stand-up? The Elder Millennial?
no.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know if I saw that one.
She, but you've seen the one after it, I think. Like the newest one, I can't remember what it's called. But she
Unveiled.
does Unveiled, yeah,
Oh,
where
yeah.
she's engaged and like talks
Hysterical.
about getting married.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she has an entire segment of an episode that she did on Netflix beforehand, like the year before, and it's called The Elder Millennial, and she talks about how, like, she was born in 85, so
Okay.
she's like right
The
at the...
millennials started in 80 or 81, right around there.
Well, millennials started, from what I saw, in like 84.
Oh, okay.
So she's like right at the beginning of millennials. And she talks about how like she was around during like the beta and the beginning of Snapchat, and like she was a kid when these things were coming about because she was a
Right.
child in the 90s.
That's true, yeah. So she was reaching teen years when,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I am very much a tech generation.
Yeah.
Like I'm a photographer. My job lives off of
Technology.
cameras, computers, cell phones, microphones, like
Mm-hmm.
all the tech.
Yeah.
That's how I make most of my money
Mm-hmm.
when I make it.
Right.
But yeah, like I remember I went to school with a bunch of kids who were like in like 4th or 5th grade, and they're like, I just got my first cell phone, and I'm like, I didn't get one until I was 13.
Yeah.
That's not something that I like. I mean, I was bugged by it because I was like,
Sure.
I want this thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a toy.
Yeah. It's an expensive
It's
toy.
an expensive toy.
That's what your parents thought.
That's back when the Motorola flip phones were like the thing.
Yeah.
Like the phones you see in Legally Blonde, that was it. And I thought that was really funny because everybody's like, oh my God, look at this amazing phone. And then we look here and we use our faces to open our phones.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Uh-huh.
It really is.
And it's like, I think it's really interesting, at least in that retrospect, that like I see you come to me with tech issues that you're having now.
Yeah, especially modern ones.
Like Instagram is a whole thing.
But to me, that's not tech.
Oh, I think it is.
No, I just think that Instagram is an interpretation, and I'm not interpreting the app the way they expect people to interpret it, because let's face it, it's not written for me.
Yeah.
Instagram is not created with anyone in my age group in mind. It's just not intuitive. To me, that's not tech. To me, tech is like the stuff that I used to do with computers.
Like coding and
yeah, like actually getting into the code of a program, and like, Microsoft Word was the thing at one point, and you would actually have a series of keys that you would press in order to, quote, reveal the codes. It was the reveal codes keys. And it would reveal the code, and then you could clean up all the shit that you put into a document that was bad. Like you would be like, why does this keep happening? I don't understand why this keeps moving down the page. And you'd go into the code and you'd realize that someone had hit enter like 6 times, and you just needed to take the junk out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that as technology, absolutely, but I also see Instagram as technology because I think I think of it as technology simply because I think we need technology to use it.
Sure, that's true.
So
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So you're a photographer.
This is how most of it's gonna be. We just go off on tangents. It's just gonna happen. I'm a photographer. Yep. I am graduating college in.
Oh, she checks.
I checked my tech. I checked my smartwatch.
You did, yeah.
My Fitbit. I graduate college in a little over a month with my BFA in fine art photography.
Nice.
I know. Thanks, Mom.
Proud parent.
Yeah, I actually, as you, Mom, that, like, as part of my oral defense, my senior thesis defense, we kind of introduce ourselves to the people that we're talking to kind of give them a baseline of who they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
One of my openers is that 2 creatives also made another creative.
Mm-mm.
I'm a photographer because you and Dad are also artists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I take a lot of pride in.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your parents
You.
were creative people. Dad was a drummer.
Yeah, and you did painting.
He started playing the drums when he was in elementary school. His cousin taught him how to play, and then he took lessons, at school, like a lot of kids do. But she taught him how to play an actual set, a drum set, as opposed to percussion, which he hated, orchestra percussion.
Yeah.
He could not read music. Was never able to do it. But was one of the greatest drummers I ever got to see. And not because I was married to him.
Yeah. But he also did blacksmithing.
Yeah, he got into blacksmithing in the last few years of his life and took classes doing that and really enjoyed it. And I think it was a good outlet for him also physically.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of energy. It's a very physically demanding, just like playing the drums. So that was a creative field that required a lot of physical output.
Yeah. And you did painting forever.
Well, I did ballet as a kid and tap and jazz. And I was very involved in church. I was raised in a very religious, very strict household.
Yeah.
And so I was in the youth choir. Started taking vocal lessons when I was 11 and sang competitively in youth. And you were chorales, and
bells.
Yeah, and
too?
I played in the bell choir. And then I got involved in a drama club in high school. And I drew and I painted. Loved pastels. That was really my thing for a long time.
I do too, and I credit that to you.
Yeah, it's the saturation of color.
I like the texture.
Yeah.
It's, I know it's like really liquid crayon, but I don't care. It's great.
No. I'm talking about not oil pastels, but traditional pastels.
Yeah, those are great.
And also, I sewed. Now, my grandmother was a professional seamstress, and she sewed, and I grew up in her house. And there was always a sewing machine on the end of the dining room table, and my mom and my grandmother made a lot of their own clothes for like big events. If they were going to a wedding or something, they never bought a dress. They always made it.
Yeah, you made my clothes sometimes, so.
Yeah, and I sewed for years, and recently through a series of events, I just kind of haven't been working full time, and we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Yes.
But have been working myself toward sewing more. I actually did work professionally outside of the house as a professional seamstress for a major chain doing bridal alterations. But now my mother and I have our own sewing business at home.
So this is...
And it's not just alterations, I should say. We create patterns and we design. So that's that, creative, artistic aspects.
Yeah.
We do interior decorating.
Yeah.
Well,
things you've just kind of...
upholster furniture, we make curtains.
Yeah, things you've kind of fallen into. Nothing really that you were like, I will do this.
Yeah, somebody said, can you do this? And the answer is usually yes. There are very few things we say no to.
But what can you not do?
I can't grow a dress.
Yes, that's my favorite thing that you say. In terms of, like, your business and just how you operate, every time that you say, I can't grow a dress, I'm just like, that's my mom. Because, like, it's just very you. It's a very you thing to say.
I actually got that from a supervisor.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, the woman that I worked for at David's.
That's really funny.
I can't grow a dress. And, of course, I can't say that without hearing her lovely Lithuanian accent.
Oh, duh.
In my head. But yeah, I can make things shorter. I can take things in. I can add things onto it.
Mm-hmm.
But I typically can't let it out. I definitely can't make it longer without changing the design of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't grow a dress.
No.
Yeah. So that's what I do.
Yeah. And then I was always a creative kid. I did violin lessons for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then I was constantly drawing, sketching, painting, just putting things on a surface.
Yeah. You did photography club, or what did you do?
I did yearbook club.
Yearbook, but you were photographing for yearbook.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school or something.
You did photography in high school.
Yeah. I took a photography class. I took a photography class in a part of the country where they were cutting arts from the public schools. Mm-hmm. So my photography class was taught by an English teacher whose daughter was a photographer.
Interesting.
And I failed that class because
professional photographer.
Yeah.
Right here. That's hysterical.
But you gotta start somewhere. Like,
yeah, you do.
Yeah. There's a few reasons I failed that class, actually. One of them was...
I wear a lot of my design failures. I have no problem with that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Dad had a wall of shame for things that he...
Oh, yeah.
But he still kept them, because they're still art.
Man with donut.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's not a failure. But he wanted us to make... The person who taught the class wanted us to make digital contact sheets, and I had no idea what that meant. Mm-hmm. And it was in Photoshop. I still don't know what it means, but I never turned them in because I never knew how to make them. Sure. But I also couldn't ask him how to make them because he was just following instructions that were given to him.
And this was what, freshman year?
Yeah, I was 14.
Wow, so this is like 7 years ago.
Oh, ew.
That's a long time. That's a long time. We talking about technology? That is a long time in the age of technology.
Yeah, and then I held on to that idea of liking photography and acknowledging it as an art.
It never went away for you.
Yeah, but
by 16 you wanted a camera for your birthday.
In 16 I got a camera for my birthday. Mm-hmm. And then I took it everywhere. I photographed everything. Mm-hmm. And I actually went into college as an equine business management major.
Yeah, whole other story. We'll talk about that another time.
With a photography minor, but then I switched it to a photography major. I didn't switch it. I dropped equine entirely. Horses are great, but I don't want to learn about them.
Well, also the business part of it, I don't see learning about any of that. Yeah,
I will absolutely do the business side of art, but when it came to horses, I specifically loved them for their therapy. I did not want to actually be a part of that world unless I was like
in contact with a horse.
yes.
Yes.
And this major was not entirely about that.
Right.
And when I got to the college that I am graduating from soon, I realized, I was like, wow, there's something off. Like, I feel like I'm in my element. I feel like I'm here, but something's wrong. And then I was like, oh, it's because I'm literally shoveling down my creative side to be able to go for what I said I would do. And then I was like, this is making me miserable. So I just switched it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even start my freshman year.
Nope.
As an equine major.
Nope.
I got accepted as an equine major, but then I started as photography.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Everybody changes majors. They usually don't do it before they even start school.
No, yeah.
But everybody changes, so.
I had that option, so I took it.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
I am too.
So that's Kes.
That is me.
That's
yes. Oh, wait, I'm married. That's a thing. That's also part of me.
That's very much a part of, who you are. I'm a widow.
Yeah. That's a part of you.
That's a huge part of me. Yeah.
I got married at 20. I am a young bride.
I got married at 18.
You are also a young bride.
Mm-hmm.
We will also talk about these things
sure
later.
We will.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, to kind of round things out,
and we live in the Northeast.
Yeah, not necessarily New England.
No, we're not in New England. We're in New Netherlands.
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. To kind of round things out,
why are we doing this?
We are doing this partially because we both want to.
Yeah, because we have things to talk about.
Yeah.
Things to share.
Yeah. And we have the resources to do so.
And by resources, we mean a microphone and a computer.
Yeah, my computer that I have my programs and stuff set up on, and all my tech, going back to that.
We're presently bankrupt people with a little bit of time on our hands.
Yeah. But we are doing this because you said it. We have things that we want to talk about, but also I really think that just hearing, like, in terms of like differences in generations, I think this would be really interesting for people. But also we will be talking about, like, you being a widow. We'll talk about going to college. We'll talk about like
movies.
We're
totally gonna talk about movies.
Yeah. And like not
music.
Yeah, not just like movies, like today's movies.
Oh,
like
no.
I told Mom a few days ago, I was like, between like 1930 and like the mid 90s are movies that we're gonna like talk about, because we have a lot of things to say about
classic to vintage movie buffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably do not know half as much as a good chunk of people out there, but we still love them nonetheless.
Yes.
So we're gonna do that. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about music.
Yeah, we'll talk about like relationships and like our experiences just owning our own businesses. That's gonna be a big one.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna talk about life.
We're gonna talk about everything under the sun and moon, Ma.
We are.
Yeah. All right. That is the first episode.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next time.
But we won't see anyone.
You will hear us next time.
They will hear us.
Yes.
Absolutely. They will hear us.
Yes, they will. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.